My camera battery died in the middle of recording my video for tomorrow on Pagan Perspective. The topic is whether or not real magic has a price to be paid, and my answer is no. And yes. Stay tuned. Hey viewers, my name's Kara. I'm your host for Tuesdays here on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we're talking about something we're calling the Price of Magick. This week's topic, and the name that we're calling it the Price of Magick, came from Rhys, I don't know how to say your name, it's R-H-Y-S, and their topic in full will be in the description of this video as always so that you can read it in their words. But the basic thing is they are 19 and are sort of in the beginning stages of learning about paganism, witchcraft, things in this area, you know, this kind of stuff that we always talk about here. And they were asking some questions on online groups, message boards, things like that, just to kind of try to meet some people. And they came across some people who were saying things like real magic comes with a price, and warning them that even the most benign spells will have a price to be paid. So they asked us to talk about the price of magic. That's where this came from. They were saying that they know about the idea that what you put out into the universe comes back to you, and their understanding was that if you are doing negative magic, if you're doing magic to harm people, things like that, that negative things will come back to you. But if you're doing positive things for healing, for protection, anything like that, and if you're not messing with anyone's free will and all of those typical things that we learn about, that if you're doing things positively and well, that positive things should come back to you. But these people who were just talking about, you know, it's always going to come with a price, you have to be prepared for the consequences, you have to be prepared to pay this price, it's making them think that no matter what kind of magic you do, that bad things will happen to you. So, that is what we are talking about this week, and oh my goodness, this is a great topic. Thank you for suggesting it. I have been excited about this topic since I first read it, and I actually shot back a quick response to this person because I know that it can be a couple of months before we get to the point of getting to talk about anyone's topic. And I thought, you know, this is something that really needs to be addressed quickly, so I did shoot back a very quick response, and now I get to do a video to tell all of you my thoughts. So, first of all, I have never actually heard people talk to beginners in terms of saying things like real magic comes with a price. I've never experienced that myself. I've never seen that happening. So this might be a new thing. It might just be depending on the community that you're talking to that this is the thing that they come up with. But this kind of thing, this kind of warning of seekers, people who are new to all of this and just learning about it, the warning thing is a thing. And so what I really think is behind all of this desire to warn seekers and things like that by telling them things like, you know, real magic comes with a price, you have to be prepared for the consequences, you have to be prepared to pay this price, things like that. I think that the underlying feeling behind that is trying to make sure that people who are getting into this are serious about it, and that you are prepared to do the actual work involved, and that you're not just someone who stumbled upon it, thought it sounded cool, you know, is getting into it for the wrong reasons because you want to be powerful or because you want to seek revenge on someone by casting a magic spell on them. You know, making sure that you're not just seeing the special effects TV and movies and fantasy books kinds of witchcraft and things like that, and getting into it for that reason. Now, of course, not all pagans are witches, and not all witches have religious beliefs that they would consider pagan, so I don't mean to be conflating them in that way, but when we're talking about the price of magic, we're talking about practitioners of magic, and in a lot of cases that refers to witchcraft, so that's where I made that mental leap just now. And a lot of the time that we see this, it does tend to be people who think witches are cool, or they just want to learn to do magic spells and things like that. So that's where that was coming from, just to be transparent about that mental bridge that I just took. So I definitely agree that that is something that is worth doing. I think it's worth noting to people that, you know, it's not just like, there are some movies and books that really do a good job of getting into the heart of what this path and these paths, because they're not all the same, but they're in the same realm, getting at the heart of what these things are really about and making sure that people who are interested are really interested and that they don't think it's one thing and then find out that it's not. Because I have had people, you know, I've been doing this for 8 years or so, I have had people over the years come to me and say, I want to learn about magic, and they really have had these kind of strange views of what it is, and they're not prepared to actually do what's really involved in this as a life path. They want kind of an easy fix, they want something that's going to make them feel cool and powerful, but they're not treating it like a real thing. And sometimes I've had people get angry at me when I try to explain what it really is because they don't believe me. Like, they think I'm just holding out on them or something. So they'll just be like, fine, I'll go find someone else to help me. And it's like, fine, you're gonna find like a really dumb website somewhere that will tell you what to do and tell you that that's what it is. And fine, that's your journey, but I do my part by trying to tell you that that's not really what this is. I've also had some people talk with me about it and realize, oh, if that's really what it is, then I'm not interested. You're right. This is not something I'm interested in. Peace out. So I totally agree that the idea behind this, the idea of making sure that people are really interested, and that if they are really interested and do want to do this, that they are prepared, is important. I think that that is a really great place to be coming from. You know, I don't know these people in this online group or whatever it was. I don't know what their personal motivations were for saying things like this, but things of that nature coming from me, that's what it would be about, is making sure that you're ready to follow this path. But I don't agree with the effect that it often has, and not just these exact statements of saying things come with a price or whatever, but again, over the years I've had other people tell me things that other people online have told them, and some people are really coming at it from a kind of a, not to mix religions here on you, but kind of a fire and brimstone sort of feel to it, that they just want to scare the living daylights out of you and convince you that nothing good can come from this, and that you will never be good enough to make anything good out of it, and that you should just run away scared. And I don't like that, because while it might scare away some of the people who aren't ready to be serious about it, it also makes the people who really are looking for something that is calling their soul afraid and confused, and it doesn't help them actually learn anything. Do you know what I mean? So I don't like that part of it. I don't agree with the out and out fear tactics part of it. But yes, I will totally sit down and tell you that the work is serious. And when I say the work is serious, it doesn't mean it's always straight-faced serious. No, we like to have fun. It's very lighthearted. There's a lot of celebration involved. And, you know, depending on the path that you're in, celebrations and community celebrations and togetherness might be a really huge important part of it. Happiness might be a huge part of the work. Impart of the work? That might have been a Freudian slip. What am I imparting here? Imparting happiness might be a big part of the work, but it is something to be taken seriously. Again, that still sounds wrong. Not everything is taken so seriously. We do lighten up sometimes, you know, but you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not something to just throw away. So I'll move on to the next point, since I'm just kind of getting myself confused now. The second point I want to make is that as far as the fire and brimstone, the negative consequences, the bad stuff that could happen to you if you do magic or whatever, right? Nothing strangely, weirdly, crazy bad has ever happened to me as a result of any magic that I've done. But, disclaimer, for most of the years that I've been on this path, I was never actively seeking to do magic with a negative impact. So I was not ever seeking to do curses or revenge work or even banishing or binding. I didn't do that stuff for the first several years. That's not something I was interested in. It's not something that was really pushing my desires to get into this path. And I didn't feel that I knew enough about it for a long time. They are things that I have done when necessary, much more recently in my path, when I had a much better grasp on it and it was really a necessary step at that point. I don't take those things lightly. So who knows, if I had tried to do something that was like a really negative impact magic when I was starting out, maybe I would have experienced some backlash, because maybe it was before I had a really good handle on things. Maybe I wouldn't have known how to go about it, but that's not something I ever attempted. So I'm not saying that no one has ever experienced bad consequences of their magic. I'm sure some people have. But I can tell you that when I was learning, I was very careful about my intentions and, you know, always kind of planning certain things out if I wanted to do anything, and then letting other things kind of come organically and just flow as they will, but always being cognizant of whether I was, intentionally doing harm or going against people's will, all of those things. And I messed up a lot of things over the years, especially when I was first starting, the first things that I attempted, the first couple of times that I attempted to do ritual or cast a circle or anything like that. I messed up. Like, I did things wrong according to what the books say, according to what some people will teach. I did things differently, but at the time I was reading that they were wrong. And the most negative impact that I ever had from that is that I didn't get the results I wanted, that I wasn't making the connections that I was looking to make because I didn't realize that I wasn't doing the things the way that they were supposed to be done. So it kind of made sense. But I never had like a negative, horrible backlash type thing happen. Again, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to some people, but I personally don't think that that kind of thing is really a huge deterrent. And I think on the one hand that it's important to not do certain things until you're ready for them. Like, there are things that you need to know before you can build up to other things, and I think that trying to go ahead and do something more involved before you have any idea of the concepts that are really going into that can be detrimental, and it's just not the way that I would teach someone. But on the other hand, I also believe that there are a lot of people out there who are totally ready, have all the concepts, and know all the stuff involved, but they're still afraid to ever try that first thing because of whatever reason, because they think they're not ready, they think something bad's going to happen, whatever it is. And I would work with those people to try to encourage them to, you have to try it at some point when you are actually ready and you know the things that are involved in that and you're ready to see what it's like. You just have to, put one foot in front of the other and try. So I believe that both of those things are real at the same time. And so the third thing, so the first and second thing that I was just talking about were kind of along the lines of, I know where this is coming from, and I don't really agree with the fear tactics, and no, I don't think anything crazily bad is going to happen to you just because you're starting to learn to do magic, right? Even if you don't have a full handle on it. How is anybody, you're not going to be an expert at it when you start, unless you're somehow seriously a reincarnated soul of a complete master at whatever. I don't know, maybe there are some people who all of a sudden are just really good at one thing the first time they try it. But that's not the case for most of us. You usually start out having to learn some things, and then you get gradually better, and you're always going to have more to learn. There is no real end point. There is always more work to be done. So as you're learning, as you're growing, I personally didn't see a lot to be completely scared of. I was careful, I was respectful, I knew that what I was doing was a serious thing, and through that, yeah, there were silly things that happened that were oh, that's not what I meant, but nothing, no one was struck down ill or anything like that. If you're coming into it with disrespect and being a jerk about it and trying to do negative things, any of those things, like they say in Practical Magic, you can't practice your witchcraft while you look down your nose at it, and you might see some more negativity coming back at you. So yeah, be aware and be open to that. But the third point I want to make is the point where, as far as whether there is a price to magic, obviously I've already given some examples of why I believe no. In some ways, depending on the thing you consider the price, no, I don't think that there is necessarily a price like that. However, part 3, yes, even positive magic may have a price. Even if you are only working toward the highest good. My camera battery died and I had to wait 2 hours for the camera to recharge, so if this video looks slightly different, that's why. And I got tired of wearing my glasses, so here we go. Even if you are only working toward the highest good, even if the only thing you ever want to do is good and positive and healing, there can still be a price. Why? Because good practice, and by that I don't mean good versus evil, good versus bad kind of good, but I mean, useful, productive, good for you practice and deep work will change you. It will challenge you. You will grow. You will be forced out of your comfort zone. And by definition, that can get uncomfortable. You will deal with hard life changes. You'll deal with difficult stuff. You have to learn to take responsibility for your beliefs and your actions. You don't just get to be careless anymore. This is a path that is very intentional. There is hard work involved. There is dedication involved. I believe that the payout in the end is for the greater good, and that's why we do this work, because we know that it's leading to something better than what we have now, that it's self-improvement, and through the self, it is improving those around us, it's improving the world. But yeah, I think if you do it right, quote unquote, you grow and change. And there's a saying, there's that cliche known as growing pains for a reason. Growing is hard. You go through painful things. People who watch my personal channel are probably sick of hearing me talk about how difficult my life has been over the past couple of years, from time to time, on and off, when I'm going through some big changes, when I'm growing through some challenges. But at the same time, it's because it's totally true. It happens all the time when you're really giving into your work and doing what you're supposed to be doing and following your guidance and challenging yourself and accepting that you can't just sit back and accept things all the time. When you're doing this work, you may experience some things that are uncomfortable and difficult, and you are forced to change. You may be called to make huge life changes that you are terrified of. So yeah, I would say that even positive magic, even positive work for the higher good comes with a price. Those are a price. That is something that we have to be willing to sacrifice. That's the meaning of the word sacrifice. Now, I don't know if that's the intent of the people that this week's questioner is talking about from these online groups. I don't know if that was what they meant when they said magic has a price and even positive magic comes with a price. May not be what they meant at all, but coming from me, that is my teaching. That is my way of seeing it. That is the way that the universe has been teaching me. For me personally, I feel if I had not been growing and changing at all over the years, that would mean that I was ignoring my work. That would mean that I wasn't really doing anything. And there were periods of time, spans of time, over years where I really didn't do a lot of work. And you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. I didn't really improve, I didn't change, I didn't go deeper into my work. Every time I work on that and go deeper, I am forced to change something and do better the next time. So yes, be prepared for that, get excited. I don't mean for that to scare you, I mean for that to prepare you. Yeah, it's scary, I'm not gonna lie to you. Are you kidding me? You're gonna be afraid of stuff. You don't want to be in my house when I have one of those breakdowns, okay? When I'm dealing with those things. But it's all part of the journey, and have people to talk to. And if you don't have people to talk to in your personal life, you have people online that you can talk to. A lot of times that's what the internet is great for. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor. I can't really tell you all those different things, but yeah, I want you to be prepared. I want you to be excited about this work. I want you to mean it. I want you to do it like you mean it and fucking enjoy it, man. Learn from it, grow with it, grow through it. Do the thing, do you. And when you get lost, go back to square one. Ask for guidance from whatever it is that you believe in. And a lot of the time, the answer is do that thing that you've been afraid to do. I wish you the best of what is needed for you. Whatever it is that you need, I wish that for you. And I believe in you. If this is something that you want to do, you can do this. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. And until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye. Forgot I had my glasses on when I started this video. I'm thinking I can be all slick and no one will notice, but I don't have my glasses on. Cool.